待てよ、急に何なんだ。どうしていきなり話す気になった。それに聖域に行かなくてもお前が。
ベティは話さない。話さない権利はベティにあるはずなの。答えに至る道は示した。これ以上ベティに甘えるのはやめるかしら。
ベアトリス。
ベティはお前の都合のいい道具じゃないのよ。
Hello everybody, MakersX here, back at it again to give you all another very exciting video, and for today I'm going to be reviewing ReZero Season 2 Episode 2 called The Next Place. And if you hadn't already done so, if you happen to somehow miss my first episode review over ReZero Season 2, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner and check that video out, and then bounce back over and watch this one though. But man, I gotta say with this one, you know, it's not as crazy as that start was with the first episode though, but I will say with the second episode though, it's definitely getting the plot going. It definitely kind of showcases all what Subaru is basically going to be pulling off, at least for this first part of the season with these first 12 episodes, and showcase off, you know what, exactly what is he going to do in order to try to bring Rim back to their world and, you know, make sure that, you know, she's her normal self once again though. And we get some of those questions answered within this episode though. So yeah, it's basically like a whole bunch of talking, not a lot of action though, but it's basically stuff that's sort of kind of setting ourselves up for what will be these future episodes coming up though. So overall, quite a bit of stuff I got to say about this episode though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight up into this episode review of ReZero Season 2. So go ahead and enjoy this brand spanking new hot take intro. Subaru's primary goal this season is to wake Rim up out of her magical coma. This means apprehending the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, who devoured Rim's existence in episode 1, and unraveling the mysteries of the witch cult. In this episode, Subaru finally gets to return to Roswell's mansion and encounters our old friend Beatrice, who tells him that he must go to the sanctuary to find the answers that he seeks. Fortunately, it looks like Amelia is attempting to step up to the plate this season. In this episode, along with last week's episode, she and Subaru have had more honest conversations than they ever had in the entire first season. It's not a matter of Subaru showing her with puppy dog devotion and Amelia responding with awkward bemusement anymore. Subaru has dropped all pretenses around her, and she's trying to do her best to become someone who can be relied upon as well. Although the premise of Subaru's mission seems fairly straightforward, there are a lot of moving parts here, along with the character introductions and reintroductions. To replace the Ultra Maid Rim, we need two new maids. One of them is Frederica, who got a brief cameo in Season 1's Episode 11 as a maid who previously employed at Roswell's mansion. The other is Petra, one of the village kids, the cute girl with the ribbon. While Frederica's design is fairly interesting with her mouth full of shark-like teeth and her calm and no-nonsense personality of a professional maid, so far she doesn't leave a strong lasting impression. But you know, this is just a little early on in the season though. Maybe, you know, we get to see a little bit more of her, and you know, based upon what we saw in the opening, I'm pretty sure we will. Maybe we'll start to warm up to her a little bit more though. But looking at the reunion of Subaru and Beatrice, when he encounters her again in the library, things got a bit dicey. While the conversation didn't give rise to any dangerous, life-threatening moments, Subaru managed to tap an emotional nerve within Beatrice, which caused Subaru to be sent flying out of the library. The fact that she was willing to help Subaru at all, knowing her nature, is a tad bit shocking, but not nearly as shocking as during the conversation Beatrice actually started to water up when answering some of the questions that Subaru asked her, which caused her to lament over the loss of someone she called Gis. So who is that person that Beatrice knows, and will it play some greater significance later in the series? There are some questions we will have to hold on to and see how the series will play out further down the road. So once Subaru had his mind determined, him along with Emilia went out in search of the sanctuary in order to answer some of the questions that he had that Beatrice was unwilling to be able to answer for him. So he had to basically see it himself though. But on the way there, a little incident basically happened with Emilia though, which caused her necklace to light up. Poof, she disappears. Boom, Subaru wakes up over here in the forest though, meets this strange old little girl. He manages to kind of trail her off, but somehow manages to lose her. Ends up in the temple though, and then while walking through the temple, then boom, man, this dude starts having like a sort of kind of like a vision or whatever though, but it seems like he's sort of kind of either teleported, either through his mind or actually physically, transports himself somewhere else though, where he's on this big old grassy scene though, and we get our introduction to the witchery Ekidena, which ends episode 2 on an intriguing note. And I get the feeling that she'll probably be a gleeful, manipulative type, and the fact that she seemingly popped in out of nowhere must have gave Subaru a heart attack in itself. And this is a character that we always knew about and heard about for the longest time in season 1, and we finally get her debut here, and I'm sure that we'll get to see a lot more of her in episode 3. So yeah, this episode had a decent amount of information that needed to sink in terms of the setting and new goals Subaru is seeking out in order to answer some of his questions. This will allow him to get one step closer to reviving Rim back to normal. So one thing for sure that each one of these episodes are going to have is we're going to basically have a lot to chew on, especially considering that they're going to be longer than the regular anime episodes that we normally might get with other, TV series. And they are not afraid of cutting out the opening and the ending sequences that fit that extra bit of story in. And for me personally, I hope in episode 3 we get a creditless version of the opening. Well, not, truly creditless, but definitely, removed all of those credit stuff that was just rolling up and down the opening like that though. But that's like one of my last things that I need for the sake of my reviews, as well as just personal satisfaction though. So I'm crossing my fingers on that one though. But after that, I'm okay with them not showing it, since it will allow extra screen time to be put in to fit in all of that juicy plot. So overall, I'm glad that they kept the tradition from the first season, because it's things like that which make ReZero special as an anime. Another thing I want to know is that the animation in these episodes is actually fairly restrained. It's more usual for a TV anime to go all out within the first episodes, maybe the first 3 episodes. But given the level of care in ReZero's production as a whole, I get the impression that the animation team can and will go above and beyond when the situation calls for it. We haven't hit this season's best material yet, but I'm excited for it whenever it comes down later down the road. And that's basically all I have to say about my episode 2 review over ReZero season 2. But let me know down in the comment section down below what all do you think about this episode, and what are some of the thoughts and questions that are sort of kind of rolling on through your head about the goal that Subaru is basically setting before himself for him to be able to, resurrect Rim and, bring her back to her, normal self or whatever though. What are some kind of things that Beatrice was sort of kind of hiding along as well? And it kind of seemed like Roswell, we know Roswell is pretty much a good person though, but what other kind of side stuff he sort of kind of has sort of kind of hidden that also Subaru is kind of wanting to figure out some of these answers as well though. A lot of different questions, just kind of circulating around with season 2 though, but as the season progresses, we'll get some more those answers though. But let me know down in the comment section down below what all you thought about this episode though. But that about does it for my episode 2 review over ReZero season 2. So you really like this review, go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things ReZero related for this season though. So make sure to tune in for next week's episode review over episode 3 called The Long Awaited Reunion. So remember y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.
おや、驚かせてしまったかな。人と話すのはずいぶん久しぶりだから、つい気持ちが流行ってしまったよ。僕の名前はエキドナ、強欲の魔女と、そう名乗った方が通りがいいかな。